to be able to melt bosses like this, want to do this to the cupheads, like I like to call them, but defeat 1, 2, and 3. 1 is difficult, but all 3 at the same time, that is amazing. Today I'm going to show you guys the best Inferno build. If you guys have seen other builds, erase them off your mind. I'm going to tell you guys exactly how to build the best build and how to actually start playing Inferno without having to wait to get the best Inferno casting spells as you progress throughout the game. You can literally start playing Inferno right now without having anything that's super OP. So if you like how that sounds, a like would be greatly appreciated. And the best way you can support the channel is by dropping a like and dropping a comment, and of course, subscribing. So let's go ahead and jump right into the stats so I can show you how you can melt everything in the game and make everything from hard super duper easy. All right, so now let's talk about stats and how you're going to progress throughout the game. It's extremely important that you pay close attention to this, because right now when I'm mentioning, it probably won't make sense to you, but once you see the armor that I'm going to suggest you use and the way you should play through the game, it's going to make perfect sense. Okay, so this is what you want to do at the start. Once you get the game, once you're ready to go, once you're starting your class, you're going to dump points into Vitality. We're going to get this to at least level 15. We should be perfectly fine with that. After you get this to level 15, you're going to dump points into Inferno. You're going to try to get it to 25. Okay, this is your starting base. After you do that, next thing you want to do is you want to dump points into Strength and get it to 12. And you should be good to there. And once you get, keep going here and you get to another level, you're going to want to make sure you dump 12 points into Radiance. Now, right now, if you're looking at these stats, they're probably looking weird. It's like, why am I dumping points into Strength? Why am I dumping points into Radiance? It's going to make perfect sense once you look at the armor, and I give you the breakdown on how you want to play this class. Next up, guys, we want to dump another 4 points into Endurance, and this is kind of like your base stat. This should get you covered throughout the game as you go from level 1 to level 2. Once you have this completely done, now it's time for us to start working on maximizing the potential of the weapons we're going to be utilizing to give us a good amount of points. So here we go. So what we want to do, guys, is we want to get Inferno to at least level 40. This is going to be our second base point. We're going to get it to level 40. We want to get our Vitality to level 30. Okay. And we want to go ahead and get our Endurance to level 30. The reason why we're prioritizing Endurance is because we're going to be spell casting a lot in this game, and you want to make sure you have enough to be able to do that. We're also going to increase our agility just 2 points, because I'm going to explain an item that we have where we're going to be getting our agility from, that we really don't need to focus on agility that much because we're going to be regenerating it very quickly. So this is kind of like your mid tier where you're at right now. This is where you kind of want to be sitting here. Now it's time to get the final result. So for the final result, guys, we want to go to Inferno all the way to 75. That's going to be our break point right there. We don't want to go any further than that. We want to get our Vitality to level 40. Okay. And then we want to get our Endurance to level 40 as well. That's going to give us a nice little cap right there. We want to get our Agility to 25, which is where we want to be. And that should give us a nice boost for Agility, Endurance, Vitality, Inferno. And the rest of the points that we have, we're going to dump this into Strength. And this is going to be making perfect sense for you guys once we get here. What I like to, personally, what I ended up doing, though, I dumped the rest of the points into Radiance just because I wanted to use an extra spell, but you don't have to do that. You can dump the rest of the points into Strength. That's going to be your personal preference. So let's just do it like, how you would probably do it. And that's going to give us our base build like here. Now that you saw that, let's go ahead and talk about why we did it like that based on the items we have. So when you start off the game, guys, I'm going to give you the weapons I recommend you use as you're progressing. So the first primary weapon you're going to be using, the one you're going to be picking up first, is this weapon right here called the Raw Mangler Axe. You're going to be able to pick this up right at the start of the game. If you farm those little ads that have the axe, they will drop this axe. In addition to dropping this axe, they will drop this one as well, which is the Rusty Cutter. Now, the problem with the Rusty Cutter is that it requires 11 strength, and that's why you saw me dump points into strength, because this is a very, very good weapon. Okay, so the first weapon you're going to be getting is this one, the Raw Mangler. This one scales off Inferno. That's where we dumped the points into Inferno to maximize that and be able to get it going. And then the second weapon we're going to do after we're done with this weapon, we're going to move to this one, the Rusty Cutter. And then after that, we're going to move to the Bloodlust. This is the kind of the way you're going to be finding these weapons as you do your playthrough until you get to your end goal weapon. Now, the good thing about the Bloodlust is that not only does it do fire damage, but it also does bleed damage. And this one requires agility and Inferno to be at 13. That is the reason why we leveled them up, to be able to use these weapons, okay? Now, our end goal is this weapon right here, which requires a 30 max of Inferno. And since by the time we get to this weapon, our Inferno will probably be like 40 or 50, this is the weapon you're going to be using throughout the entire playthrough until you kill the last boss. This is what's going to get you through. Now, I'm going to come back to this weapon and explain how to make this weapon even more powerful than what it currently is, where you saw me hitting 1,000 plus damage all the way to 2,000 damage. I'm going to explain how that works. Now that we got the weapon out of the way, you theoretically with this weapons, you only need to run one weapon. You don't even need to run a shield, or you could dual wield the weapons, which is what I was doing as I was progressing through the game. Now, after you're done with that, guys, let's talk about the catalyst. Now, for the catalyst, guys, it's going to be pretty interesting because you're going to start off with this catalyst, and this is actually a pretty good catalyst. You should be able to carry your way through at least level 1 and level 2 just by using the catalyst and casting this spell, which is called the Inferno Orb. The Inferno Orb is your best friend, and theoretically speaking, this should carry you out throughout almost the entire of level 1 and level 2 of the game, as long as you're playing the class correctly, which is keeping your distance and spell casting. Very low mana cost, very good distance, and does a lot of damage. Now, after that being said, you're then going to get to the second level, and after you complete the second level, you will get access to this item right here, which you have to buy by, of course, you know, going into the Umbral world and talking to the dude that upgrades your lamp. Now, he's going to have this for sale, and you're going to want to purchase this. It's extremely important that you follow this through, because purchasing this is going to be a lifesaver. In addition to that, he's going to have this spell for sale, which is called the Umbra Orb. Now, this spell in particular should carry you to level 3, level 4, even level 5 just by using the spell alone, because this particular spell applies Wither to when you shoot it at an enemy. You can theoretically spam this and pretty much kill the enemies, kill bosses. It is extremely OP and really effective. The reason why you want to switch from fire to Umbral is because you don't get any good fire spells until later throughout the game. Okay, until you get to the to the castle, you won't be getting any really good fire spells. So you want to make sure that you switch over to Umbral and use that spell. Play with this catalyst throughout the entirety of the mission until you get access to this ring, guys, which will allow you to bring back your fire catalyst, which is this one here called the Unblinking Root, which is going to allow you to cast Umbral Sorcery with a non-Umbral catalyst. And what that's going to allow you to do is going to allow you to run this catalyst right here and use not only your fireball, which is this one, and also use this in combination, and that should carry you throughout till you get to the castle. Once you get to the castle, then you can just pretty much focus on getting the really cool NOP casting spells. This is going to be your bread and butter, guys, besides the slam. This is going to be extremely important and should carry you throughout the entirety of the game, as you guys have been seeing here on the videos that I've been showing you guys, because this particular spell will allow you guys to do a ton of damage and do it effectively and not get close to an enemy. Now that we got that out of the way, guys, as you guys are progressing and you already have your fallen sword, you already have your sphere, pretty much let's talk about armor. So armor, guys, is just pretty much going to be personal preference, whatever you suits your boat, because the armor doesn't really matter that much in the game as much as the stats. But what does matter, guys, is this right here, which we're going to be talking about, which is called the Roger's Delight. You're going to get access to this once you get to the castle, and what the Roger's Delight does, which is a pendant, it's going to increase your fire damage and fire defense. The fire defense really is important in the castle part, but apart from there, it's not that important. But the reason you want to get this is because it's going to increase your fire damage. Now, as far as the ring is concerned, guys, we're running the Ring of Knight's Fire, which is going to deal additional fire damage and wither damage. Remember, we're casting wither spells, so that's going to do a little bit more damage to apply wither to the enemy. And in addition to that, guys, we are going to be doing additional fire damage. Now, if you guys want the other ring we're running, which is the Mind Owner's Ring, which I stated earlier when we were talking about the stats, this is going to allow you to increase the maximum stamina and stamina regeneration, which makes it extremely important that you carry throughout your gameplay. Now, you could swap this ring with the one we talked about allowing you to cast spells, once your endurance is pretty much high up and you don't have to worry about the endurance regen, because it's going to allow you to carry both magic spells, and since it gives you that nice array, you're going to be able to use multiple spells because you're going to have to progress later in the game, and some of the umbral spells are pretty powerful that you're going to want to make sure you equip and prioritize over the fire and inferno ones. Once you get the really OP fire spells, that is when you want to make a complete transfer to fire spells. But apart from that, guys, you're going to want to make sure you're using some umbral spells that should carry you throughout the game, and you're going to get them before you get to the end game. So using those two combinations of magic before you get your really good arsenal of fire, that's going to be crucial to you guys to progress and get further in the game. Remember how I said I was going to talk about this weapon a little bit further in the video? Today we're going to be talking about the Fallen Lord sword and what makes it super OP. What actually makes this OP, guys, is the ability of being able to put sockets. Now, the socket that makes it extremely powerful is the Berlin socket, which is going to allow you guys to increase the Infernal attribute scaling. The cool thing about this one is that it stacks. So you can stack this up to 3, giving you additional more damage to this weapon. So if you guys go ahead and socket these into the Fallen Lord or any weapon that allows you to put these sets of runes, you're going to be doing a ton more damage, and this is what makes this weapon stand out more than any other. And that is how you build the best Inferno build in the game. Now, as you keep progressing through the game, you can dump more points into Radiance so you can cast different magic sorcery, which I highly recommend because you are pretty much a sorcery. You just specialize in Inferno, and some of the late game Inferno kind of magic is pretty OP. Sometimes you probably don't want to even divert from using other magic, but it's always good to have like a magic in case you want to heal that you can pick up from dumping more points into Radiance. But this build should get you guys through not only to the end game and just make something really hard super easy because you've built the proper build. Now, of course, I'm going to have guides on other classes as well. So if you feel Inferno is not the route you want to go with, which I highly recommend because I think it's meta and it's the most OP class currently right now in the game, don't worry about it. I'm going to have you guys completely covered here in the channel. So make sure you guys subscribe, turn on your notifications. And the best way you can let me know that you're enjoying the content is by commenting and dropping a like. If you want to see even more Lords of the Fallen content, don't forget, guys, to make sure you check out our second channel, which is linked in the description down below, to stay tuned to everything Lords of the Fallen related. Thank you guys for watching, fellas, and I will catch you guys on the next video.